Seth Lugo a little bit earlier. So do you think, I have the opinion that he's going to get the chance to start because he's been promised that, but I don't see him being a starting pitcher the whole year. But I don't view that as like a negative for the Padres. I think that could be a positive because he was effective with the Mets out of the bullpen. Like whether he's a starter or a reliever, it's going to help the Padres, whatever role it is in, I think.
He's a guy who, look, I don't want to compare him because at the high end, he was not to be what a Phil Hughes or a Jabba Chamberlain was. Two guys who, I watched the Yankees kind of screw up by mixing back and forth, and that could do a lot to a pitcher's body. It is not easy to go ahead, and Seth Lugo deserves a lot of credit for how easy he's made it look to stretch out. We act like, oh, don't worry, a guy will go ahead and just throw more pitches. It's not that easy, right, for them to do. In the middle of a season, it's really not that easy. Now, it's easier to go the other way, but he's done both and gone back and forth and could be a chameleon that way. There are not a lot of guys that are that way, right? And we're not talking about be a chameleon like go from a fifth starter to your long relief guy or your damage control, but he goes from that and then can go be your eighth inning guy and go get two righties out. And he has done that very well. So I think because of that, to your point, yeah, I don't think the Padres lied to them. I think they promised him that, hey, he's going to start. But I think he also understands that's not a guarantee that continues. He knows, hey, on this staff, we make the playoffs and go where I want to go win a World Series. I'm not getting game 3. I'm not getting game 4 of any series. But to have that guy who now adds at the back end of your bullpen, who can go ahead and could be really good against righties when you need him in a 7th, 8th inning. He's closed before if you needed him in a spot to go spell, hey, all those sorts of things. Could pitch 2-3 innings. I've seen him do that, 7, 8, 9, and just kind of, end a game that is some game in August, but helps rest the rest of the bullpen. To your point, I think he's got additional value. And look, if you're trying to get to where you want to get to, if Seth Lugo makes 25, 30 starts, you're not getting there. He's got to be part of that depth in that bullpen eventually when you succeed at the highest level at the back end of the season.
I think you could say that same thing about Nick Martinez as well. And so I think a lot of Padres fans were expecting one of them to not be a starter the whole year, and the Padres will go out and get someone else at least before the trade deadline. At least for me, that's all I care about. Like we saw this past season, the regular season, you win 111 games, that means nothing. Like just get into the postseason, and if you have the right players then and you're playing well then, that's what matters. And the Dodgers weren't able to do that this past year. The Padres were before, the NLCS, and then they had to test that depth, Manaea, Clevenger, and it didn't work out very well.